Well, guys, this came out of absolutely nowhere. Today, we are doing a trophy list analysis video of not one, but two games. Five Nights at Freddy's 3 and Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Now, I remember hearing literal years ago, back when Five Nights at Freddy's 4 first came out on Steam, that they were eventually going to get a port to console. That really never seemed like it was going to happen. It seemed like it had been forgotten. I was actually also hearing maybe that it might go to the Vita the way that Nightcry did. But it looks like we're finally getting PlayStation 4 ports of both Five Nights at Freddy's 3 and Five Nights at Freddy's 4. At the time of this being recorded, there has not been a list released for FNAF 1 or 2. But apparently, all four games are supposed to release on the Switch on November 29th. So, presumably, the release date is going to be November 29th. And it's possible that the other two games will get thrown in here. So, this is going to be a combination video of FNAF 3 and 4 because they're each 100% games with no platinum. So, we're going to start out with FNAF 3. Now, I'm not the biggest Five Nights at Freddy's fan or lore person in the world. I don't know everything about the games. But I've watched a lot of videos of them over the years, so I think I can give a decent enough look at the trophy list and thoughts on it. So Five Nights at Freddy's 3 comes with 10 total trophies worth 315 points. No platinum, 1 gold, 6 silvers, and 3 bronzes. So let's take a look at FNAF 3. Now, I will say the trophy images and trophy names are horribly uncreative in this game. That's one thing that's for certain is the images are pathetic unless there's a secret hidden in the back of them that I haven't seen yet. But they're very, very simple and the names are not very complicated either. So, One Night at Freddy's survived the first night, trapped, failed to make it through the night. That's a bronze as well. In Five Nights at Freddy's 3, that's the one that's in the attraction that's set like 30 years in the future or whatever. In that one, I don't even think it's possible to die on night one. I think from what I've read that that's the easiest of the original four, but I could be wrong on that, so don't take my word for it. But I've heard that this is the easiest of the original four. Two Nights at Freddy's survived the second night. Three Nights at Freddy's survived the third night. Four Nights at Freddy's survived the fourth night. Five Nights at Freddy's survived the fifth night, so you'll get all those trophies just by completing your main 5-night shift at the FNAF Haunted Attraction World thing. Now, for those who don't know, though, the FNAF games get notoriously hard when you start to get into some of the extra stuff. I mean, they can already be pretty challenging, even just beating the main stories of them. I've never actually completed any of the Five Nights at Freddy's games, though I've never really played them that much, and I don't really have a good way to play them anymore because I'm on a MacBook, so they don't seem to... I haven't been able to get them to work on this for some reason, but anyway, the last four trophies are Nightmare. Survived Nightmare mode, that's basically your night 6. So this game is technically 6 Nights at Freddy's, so that's the final night, the hardest true night. The End. Finished your first week's shift. That is presumably for getting the normal ending to the game, which is what you'd get just by completing the 6 nights. The End. This is a gold. You have to get the good ending. The good ending for this game is stupidly complicated. I highly suggest looking at like Markiplier's videos of it. It is so stupidly overly complicated, it's ridiculous. You have to play a bunch of random mini games and you have to complete secret endings within the secret mini games and stuff like that. It's absurd. Like, it's so many hoops you have to jump through. And then finally, Aggressive Nightmare. So that is for surviving Aggressive Nightmare mode. That is a bonus mode. I don't remember exactly what Aggressive Nightmare mode is, aside from the fact that it's basically this game's night 7, and it's basically just a harder night than night 6. So with FNAF 3, from what I remember, like I said, this is supposed to be one of the easier Five Nights at Freddy's games, especially out of the first 4, because there's only one animatronic plus the hallucinations and stuff, but you have to keep track of the vents and your air and use the lights and the cameras and stuff. But as far as I know, this is the easiest of the 4. So I would put this one at probably around like a 5 out of 10 in difficulty, this particular game, just because especially if you've played them a lot on Steam, this one's a little just more convoluted than it is truly difficult with the true ending and with Aggressive Nightmare mode, which I think might have been added in his DLC at some point anyway in the Steam version of it. And now we have Five Nights at Freddy's 4, which has the same trophy breakdown of 3 bronze, 6 silvers, 1 gold, no platinums, for a total of 10 trophies worth 315 points. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is possibly one of the creepiest ones because it's the one that's based on audio cues while you're inside of the house. And it's the one that, of the 4 that I've played, because I've played the first 4, could never figure this one out at all. Me and my neighbor have tried to play it. We have never been able to figure it out. I guess we just don't have good enough hearing or something for it. But let's take a look at this game's list. One Night at Freddy's, survived the first night. 2 Nights at Freddy's, survived the second night. Those are 2 of our bronzes. 3 Nights at Freddy's, survived the third night. 4 Nights at Freddy's, survived the fourth night. 5 Nights at Freddy's, survived the fifth night. 6 Nights, survived the sixth night. Sorry, I didn't pronounce that properly. So once again, very uncreative trophy names, of the trophy pictures are a little bit better in this one. So this game is really hard from what I remember seeing. Like, completing the 6 nights is pretty challenging in this game, just the 6 main nights, and that's just the main story. And then we get to the really brutal stuff. Nightmare. Survived Nightmare mode. That's a silver, and Nightmare mode is... I think Nightmare mode may only have one animatronic that's just super ultra aggressive, if I remember correctly, but I know that it's very, very difficult. Our gold trophy, 2020-2020, survived 420 mode. Yep, that's here, and that's going to be horrible. Fun, quotation marks, won all mini games. I'm not really sure what that is. Like, I'm assuming... I remember there being a Fun with Plush Trap, but that's the only minigame I directly remember from this game, so I guess there's others that I'm forgetting. And then finally, Too Bad. Didn't listen carefully enough. That's just going to be for dying. That's probably going to be the first trophy you get. So for Five Nights at Freddy's 4, I would predict this game is going to be around a 7 or 8 out of 10 unless you're really good at it on Steam. I don't know how the control scheme is going to translate to the PS4. Because on the PC, you were using the mouse and the space bar and stuff like that, and you had hotkeys. I don't know how the controls are going to translate. I also don't know how, if the game's, maybe going to be played a little bit slower or something, or if it might go a little bit faster. You never know how it's going to be with the ports, so those could change up the difficulty a little bit. But my assumption is, like I said, FNAF 3 is probably around a 5 out of 10, especially if you have experience playing them on Steam. It's just ridiculously, stupidly complicated to get the true ending or the good ending, while Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is just downright pretty difficult and pretty terrifying from what I remember, unless you, again, are really, really good at it, because 420 mode is going to be pretty hard. Even Nightmare mode's pretty hard, and I'm not sure about the mini games. I feel like there was only like 1 or 2, but there might have been others that I'm forgetting. So, like I said, I don't know what the release date is, but given that the Switch port comes out on November 29th, 2019, I'm going to predict November 29th, 2019 for both these games on PS4. If FNAF 1 and 2 come out with trophy lists as well, I will do another video for those. I would assume that they will, since they're both in the Switch collection and since they could have similar trophy lists, except maybe FNAF 1. FNAF 1 is a shorter game. It doesn't have quite as much content to it, so it might only have like 8 trophies. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video and see you for the next one.